I'm Vaidone. I'm gardening here for like third year. Our brilliant idea is that the garden would work without somebody organizing, that everybody would be like equal. I could not imagine that gardening needs so many more skills than just digging the ground. You have to know how to come up with one opinion, how to introduce your opinion, how to find solutions, how to tackle the problems and like that. And it's not always easy because we are so different. We do not have youngsters. So this is a trouble because we don't know how to invite them. Youngsters should come here because the main thing is you can grow something in the city center to know how things are growing, how veggies are growing. And the other very important point, I think that it's very good space to learn how to communicate with each other and to have like communication skills.
Today we are in the second day of our study visit trip. Yesterday we were in Vilnius visiting Antakalnio community garden.
After speaking with the volunteers in Vilnius community garden, we found out we have a lot of things in common and a lot of problems, and we exchanged ways how to possibly solve them or approach them.
I see that there's communities of gardeners, of people who are passionate about bringing more nature in the city, and there are communities of youth and people who work with youth, and there's missing bridge somehow. There are organizations who have found each other, there are organizations who have both elements, but I think what we could work more on is to building bridges between gardens and already existing gardens and existing youth activities. Go gardening.
Hello, my name is Evelina Shimkuta. I am an educational and cultural program coordinator in Fort number 8 in Kaunas city. We are in the urban garden area. The urban garden is called Šilainių Sodai, and it's a place where about 150 gardeners grow food. The way the garden works, so there are beds that you can come in with no commitment and to taste things, learn about black tomatoes and yellow zucchinis and other things that are a little bit different that you find in the shop, and try them. You don't need to dig, you don't need to sweat, and weeds don't really grow that much, and it's super easy to experiment and to try to grow from seed from the very first time.
Kas tur dzīvo? Tritonī. Daudz? 7. Es nezinu, vienkārši viņi teiks, dēles, tritoni. Dzīvā radība. Un tā, kad visi izžūst, ja tev tas bija karsts, tad bembī nāk.
One year we worked on the urban furniture that was movable, and we created the space. And then the same young people that were part of the workshop, we found out that they play music. So we organized a small event where we used the urban furniture as a sitting place. We got some electricity from our partners, and the young people who created the beds had the concert, this open air in the gardens. So that was really, really nice.
In Kaunas, the urban garden is developed in a fort. Not in this one, in different one, because there are plenty of forts in Kaunas. Come and explore. So this is so inspiring to see what we can do with these historical gift that is left for us, and how to use it not only as observe and enjoy, but also how to actually be a part of it.
So yesterday in Paldies garden, it was really nice to see in reality how with activism and standing up for some things what you see is not right. And in this example, they wanted to cancel the green space and garden space for locals, and some activists came together, and they managed that the government left this space as a place for gardens and veggies to grow.
Hi, my name is Karin Overgaard. I am 72 years old. I started here in 1972 on the DNS, the Teachers Training College. Education has given me a lot in my life. I've been a teacher, a headmaster. When I got older now, I came back to Tvin. There had to be someone who is deciding what we do where, because it was not a continuity. I think it's extremely important for young people, the future stewards of the future, that they can they know where the food comes from, that they know you get dirty hands, but you can see the joy of things growing.
And what do you do here now?
Here in Tvin, my main responsibility is to work in the garden farming. We have 4,000 square meters that we are growing, plus we have a fruit orchard, and we have animals, which I don't count in those 4,000 square meters. The Tvin garden farming, which I will welcome you to here, is a garden where we are trying to produce food for ourselves here in Tvin, those who live here. And sometimes if we have surplus, we sell it to neighbors and friends. The soil we planted in manure from the horses we have here, and then we put some lamb's wool from the sheep, and then we plant it. And this process, this has kept the soil warm. There's a process in the soil. It's making nutrition, and it's also at the same time keeping the soil humid and warm. This one is a kale. It's called Red Russian. This one, it's a very tasty kale. And what happened last winter was that it was growing here, and it was going wild, and I left it. And then it started to make seeds. And I harvested all the plants, put them in a big plastic bag, and I shake the bag, and then at the bottom comes all the seeds. We want to go to local schools and try to make children in the schools make their own gardens if they don't already have it. But I think it's an essential thing that we grow local, we eat all what we can, and get the most out of the things nearby us to protect the climate and the environment in the future. Yeah. I want to teach everything I know, and I also want to learn from people who come here. But for example, for the future students, children, they should learn how to grow the plants and how to, as a part of their life, that they know where the things come from and they know how to produce it.
What are you doing?
I'm picking leaves for salt for dinner and lunch for tomorrow.
So my name is Sergey. I'm from Liepāja, Latvia, and for the last 4 years I studied non-formal pedagogy in DNS Tvind in Denmark, and I came here to learn, to get some new experiences in every aspect of the life as I can, and also to become a teacher as I really wanted, because I wanted to go somewhere else from my hometown to get new experiences and bring that back to synthesize the new knowledge together with people, like local people from my hometown. And the opportunities that it gives me, it's also quite enormous. And the fact that it is a part of my education that I'm doing, of this non-formal pedagogy. And Tvind, as such, and the community, the people inside it, with the knowledge that they have, it also brings a bit more value to the studies that I'm doing here. Garden is playing also a big aspect in our education because we believe that teaching and knowing about soil, knowing about food, knowing about nature is an essential skill and knowledge to have for the future. The world needs really good teachers, so we are trying to think a bit more of future in a global perspective, not just as us and our future job positions, but thinking of how the teachers could impact the formation of the future generation. We quite often have so-called garden actions and also garden parties, just to make the process of working in the garden more fun. Just put some music, dance a bit, and get all the things done. Thinking of a situation that the world is currently in, thinking of climate change, living sustainably is a must to have everywhere. If you live in the city, it's good to know what you can do, like how to, I don't know, cultivate the soil and make a community garden around your house, maybe in your neighborhood or in the city somewhere in the center. Everybody should do some practical job. We can do a lot of theoretical, but it just burns my head totally. Like I cannot handle it too much. I need to do something with my hands and put energy in something else that can after give me some benefits. Having a garden is a must to have. Like there is no go how you can avoid it, because first of all, it teaches responsibility. One of the most important concepts, especially which is relevant for the current generation, patience. Because when you plant something, it will give fruits, maybe not now. If you plant a tree, it takes years to have a first fruit. And I think that's what is very important, because now our generation is very like, now.
I have been living here for more than 20 years, and I came from big city of Shanghai, and tens of millions of people living there. While people are having more and more money, they are actually eating worse and worse food because of the food industry has kind of led us to a wrong path of consuming poisonous food and processed food. Food and heal, they are the two essential words in this program. In this program, there are different elements. Partly is studies, and the studies are done in different ways. We have the opportunity to run a restaurant, a cafe, that to produce our own food and serve our own food. Our goal is that cafe should serve food from our own garden, either eating vegan or vegetarian and so on, even though we have a clear opinion that we should eat much more plant-based food. We want to find young people who are interested in this program. It's because we think that they are the ones who can make a difference for the society. They are the ones who can bring the message further to their local communities and their friends and their own families and so on. Many young people actually are also born with processed food. This is something that we think that if we want to get that changed, we need to start with young people.
For 3 days already, and it has been a very interesting experience, and I find this place to be a bit full of contradictions. We have a huge territory with perfectly lawned walls. At the same time, they are saying that around this area there is lack of bees. So why wouldn't they turn all of this perfectly lawned lawn into a nice meadow where biodiversity can flourish?
These people built the windmill when they were in their 20s. There were crazy youngsters who believed in what's right, and they just stand up for it, and they put their money and work and hours and energy and sweat and everything, and through all of their life they're proud of it. They still want to show it to the world, and I'm thinking how important it is that young people find something that they can develop this sense of belonging, and the easiest way how to do it if they actually put their hands in building it. And windmill is like a bit utopical project to build like right now, but community garden, it's simple. Of course you have to put your sweat and ideas and a bit of conflicts and conflict resolutions and time and a bit of money as well, but it's so doable. And if a youngster builds something and then there's sense of belonging and proudness and caring of the place, I think so many youth-related problems would be solved if we would do this more.
Charging phone.
Charging phone. Saule ir ieradusies. Un šis ir viens no visvecākajiem kopienas dārziem, ja? Tā es pareizi sapratu.
Jā.
Nu, tā kā mēs nezinām, tad uzskatīsim to par patiesību. Šis ir viens no visvecākajiem kopienas dārziem. Un kas man te ļoti patiesībā šokē, ne jau super fantastiskā komposta toalete, kas ir tur, ne jau burvīga telts, vienkārši dārza vidū, bet, nedzird, ja? Tas viss ir forši, kur ir pilnīgi mistiska būve, kuru neviens nesaprot, kāpēc viņš šeit ir, bet tas, ka salīdzinām ar mūsu situāciju, mūsu kopienas dārzu, šeit ir tik daudz entuziastu un interesantu, un katrs iet savā virzienā, un līdz ar to te pat ir notikusi dalīšanās, grupu dalīšanās, bet viedokļu dalīšanās, un kopienas sadalījušies, un kādi ir aizgājuši attīstīt savus dārzus kaut kur citur. Un liekas, mums ir tā kā, lūdzu, nāciet dažādie viedokļi, nāciet dārzu, pastrīdamies par šitām dobēm, pastrīdamies par, kas skaitās skaisti, un visu, ko jūs darat Liepājniekiem LV komentāros, nāciet uz dārzu, lūdzu, runājam un veidojam aktīvu dažādu viedokļu kopienu, jo no tā mēs augam. Un šeit tas notiek jau gadus 10 un ilgāk.
Kas tās, Egīla, tev tur?
Pret grauzējiem, lai viņi neapēd saknes.
Un kur jūs viņu klāsiet?
Mēs viņu ieklāsim reizes bēdas pamatā.
Un te būs milzīgi koka puči, akmeņi koka puči, mazāko gabaliņu zeme un augi, un nav laika ir jāiet strādāt.
Ko tu dari?
Es griežu ārā vecos sakāpušos kaziņveidīgos zarus, lai ir vieta jaunajiem, lai gaisma iekļūst.
Ko baroties nākamajiem augiem, kas te tiek izdarīti?
Coming more and more people, and it gets more and more hard to deal and to keep the overview who belongs to this garden. And then we try to find a new solution how we integrate people, because some people who came has felt a little bit members of the garden are invited to come together and discuss about some issues and some challenge, some tasks. Every member has a voice. Former time we has used the veto method, so everyone has the right to veto, and sometimes it has misused. And so last years we tried other methods. First the consent method from sociocracy, and now also we want to try the systemic consenting. In the systemic consenting you ask people for a solution, for a task, for a problem you have to solve. Every member can give a proposal. And to every proposal, you ask everyone for his resistance. And you ask also for the resistance for the current state. Then you can compare the group resistance of every proposal, and you are looking for a solution with very small resistance. So first, the people who want to join have to look on our website and have to read our concept and our conditions to join. Then they can join a working activity when we have open garden days and on a working day. They have to read our conditions, our join conditions, and sign them.
Katram kopienas dārzam savu nojumīti.
I am Anna. I'm one of the co-founder of Felfoot Forest. How we engage young people, we had an experience with a sub-project of Felfoot Forest, which is called Open Soil Atlas. And this is a project about soil and about testing soil using citizen science. And we had a workshop with kids as well. Yeah, I think it's important to involve young people because they are the future, and if we want to engage in transformative processes, they are going to be the voice of the future and the hands of the future, and they are also the ones that are going to be impacted the most. So yeah, I find it very important to engage them. It's also not so easy maybe because it's much easier to engage people around our age. They don't come spontaneously, but there are a lot of organizations that work with young people, so maybe you can you can use this organization as a bridge or go through schools, and it would be really important, nice for them, nice for us, and nice for the future. So I wouldn't say that they are not interested, maybe they just missed the connection to that, and yeah, it's maybe good to actively go to them and involve them. Yeah, we come from very interdisciplinary backgrounds. Some are permaculturalists, some are architects, some are communication experts, so it's very, very different. And we came together with this vision of having a food forest garden here on the Temple of Erfeld to feed the community and to grow a healthy community from a healthy ecosystem, from a healthy forest. Yeah, we want to transform this place, which has a history of aviation and military history. We want to transform it into a place for the community, where we can build something nice, we can make environmental education, we can bring the community together and be more resilient together as a community. And to make this big transformation, they are social, political, economic transformation, we cannot do them alone, as single people, so we really need to work as a community.
Since we have this area on the Tempelhofer Feld, we faced a lot of heritage protection things and issues, and this is why we cannot really do a food forest on the Tempelhofer Feld, but still based on the principles of permaculture, we want to create a garden which is closing circles, not just environmentally, but also social circles. COVID kicked in, and we could not be very active in the city. Always also younger people who were there and who wanted to get their hands dirty. And now that we are starting this garden, I hope that we really reach out to younger people also. Gain knowledge about gardening, reconnect to the nature. Also, we had the map of the area, and then the people who were knowledgeable about it, they told us about sun traps, how they function, about how to involve water in the garden system and stuff. And then based on that, we built some smaller groups. And in the small groups, we designed this area, with the map. And then we met again, and then we saw how similar actually these different maps were. And then we brought the different designs together. And yeah, then we came up with another better design, because you can learn from different designs, because more brains bring more knowledge together. We as a group, we have problems with too many cars and traffic in the city, as you maybe can hear also. And then we created a trailer, which is working as a movable garden or bed, which has some edible trees and plants on it. And this works actually as a squat for a parking slot. It's called, in German, Friss deine Parklücke, or eat your parking slot. And this was one project we did, and then we had another project, a pilot project, where we were looking for other areas in Berlin. And it's called Open Soil Atlas, where we used citizen science to test the local soil and also bring neighbors together. So all of the people who are coming, they need not just a city or a good infrastructure that they can work in. They need a livable city, and livable cities come with a healthy environment. And yeah, people need green spaces. So for me, it would be very, very nice, in my vision, to take out the cars, maybe invest into better, super cheap public transport, or even free public transport. Then we would have so much more space. I mean, all of the streets could be gardens and green areas. More equal, socially equal. People would get access to plants which could grow fruits and vegetables, and then you can take it and you can live very cheap. You can have local food. You can interact with people, or more generations can get together and garden and harvest and take nature as a stakeholder, which doesn't have a voice, and then or doesn't bring a lot of capital or money, and involve it also in policy and force people or empower people to use it.
Mēs esam tādā ļoti interesantā vietā, līdz šim neesam vēl tādu redzējuši, bet te ir tāds kā parks, un es pat teiktu dziednīca, terapeitiskais dārzs, kur ir manāmas kaut kādas gan iespējas kaut ko stādīt un sajust. Tur ir pirmo reizi, man liekas, dārzs tik ļoti uz maņām iedarbojas. Tur bija gan tā kā migliņa ar ūdeni, gan vis kaut kādas smaržas un pļavas, un cilvēki vienkārši te izskatās, kad ārstē savas kaitas ar dabas palīdzību.
Un ja te būtu mauriņš, tad šis būtu tāpat kā visur, bet ir ļoti fantastisks piemērs par to, kā var citādāk veidot parku, zaļās zonas, praksē, redzams.
Well, how can we succeed in planting a new paradise? This was the question that the polymath Joan Amos Comenius tried to answer again and again by seeing oneself, speaking for oneself, and acting for oneself. For him, man's self-determination is the paradise method, the method for the completion of creation as a garden. Tada, what an unexpected discovery.
Lifelong learning.
It's true.
I always wanted a garden. I've been wanting a garden for a long time. But I feel that having a community garden is a much nicer way of having a garden, because you can share and you can learn from each other. And a lot of people that are quite young are interested in this project, I think, yeah.
It's because the university is working on it, or why particularly this garden has such a...
I don't know. Yeah, maybe because of the appearance. Maybe because it's also not a traditional garden, but it's it's like a climate resilient garden project. I find it very interesting to have an approach, a positive approach to deal with food and climate change and things like that. Positive way, in a way that we create things and we actually do something with the earth we stand on, and not just stand around and cry because the world is going on under. Yeah, I think young people should put their hands in the ground and experience growing their own food. And also, it's a super cool place to be here and just watch how everything's growing.
And we are here in the Waldgarten, so in the urban permaculture forest garden in Berlin-Britz, in the south of Berlin. We want to make like a self-sustainable urban garden here with all mainly eating plants. And this project is also like scientifically monitored. We will measure the yields, we will measure the soil quality, we'll measure the biodiversity. And if it all works out nicely, hopefully this project will be not just common sense that it will be a good project, but it will be a fact, hopefully, that it's a good project and will be established in more areas all over Germany and all over the world in the end, hopefully. We are funded by the state and by the country. And so they already see that it will be a necessity in the future to have these gardens. And hopefully our data and our project will show them that it's worth doing so and that there will be more money available in.
Berlin was absolutely amazing. The squat culture not only reclaims the buildings but also the green spaces, and it happens so naturally and it's like harmonic because people have their own initiatives and they just take the green spaces for themselves. Either it's a huge project for millions of euros or it's something only few people do in their local community. It was super amazing to see. I think we should take 2 weeks just to explore Berlin because we explored maybe 8 places, but there's so much more to see in Berlin and I loved it.
I thought that it's a good idea to develop a tool that is easily approachable, youth-friendly, and can show you the dark side of certain products, which is like a real issue in nowadays world. I think the youngsters, when they play the game, they're very impressed about the human trafficking problems. Also, when they get to know about the mafia and that avocado is considered as green gold in South American countries, they get very surprised because they consume these things every day. They eat those things every day. They eat avocados. They eat bananas. They do avocado smoothies and toasties. So all those things, you don't think of them so much during your daytime, during your life, like in your daily life. So when you hear about those dark issues behind the products, it's actually maybe shocking, maybe disturbing at some point, and I think it makes you rethink the consumption behavior. The way we distribute the food, right? And because of the climate changing, these lines are breaking, and we need new lines to support those in need. And technology could help in this way a lot. Let's say I know already how they are integrating in artificial intelligence in some gardening projects, in some warm houses, and then I think if you could establish that somewhere where you can, just establish the technology and then work on the permacultural project, you don't need the supply line anymore. So I think technology could be an alternative in a way. And think what you eat and how you consume things, and try to imagine this holistic approach when you take into your hand a banana or an avocado. If you ever wonder where the cacao is coming from in your chocolate bar, just think of the countries where it's produced, with like a very minimal wage, and then And then the next time, just look for better symbols like fair trade or responsibly made, or Amazon forest, this green frog. Just be a responsible consumer and a responsible eater, and support local farmers, which is, in my opinion, crucial for all ecosystems and for sustainable communities and cities.
We are work with different programs like Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity Corps, and focus as well on young people. Then we wanted to see how community gardens are used as a tool in a youth work, what is attractive for young people.
Sometimes we bring our plants, like I personally bring my peas because my son puts them in the soil. My son is 1.5, and it's very heartwarming when I see him, like he's enjoying this little piece coming in the soil, and then he's really wow. My vision is to just be here and work here and let my child do whatever he wants here. Gardens in the city are way closer than gardens out of town, out of cities. You don't have to run your car to go there. Like between 15 and maybe even 12 and 25, there's like no one here. I think youngsters should come here. Maybe not all of them, they have their own needs. Why this garden exists? This organization started it, but really, I don't know. It just popped out of nowhere for me. I hope that this garden could be cool. Sometimes something is cool, and now cool is to bring back nature for your life. I don't have a vision for this, and maybe it's not so important that you have a vision. Maybe it's important to have just work, go here and do whatever you want. And next year the same, and next year the same, and next year the same, and the vision will pop out of nowhere like this garden.
My name is Valentina, I'm from Ukraine. Some people have, for example, problems after that period of COVID. People stayed home and forgot what is the nature to live in a good society. And of course we have our garden where we can plant, communicate, to change different experience.
My name is Janka, and I am part of Zielone Ogniwo, which is a non-formal youth group. And now we are in a community garden, urban garden, in Plone, which is another initiative that is taking place in Gdańsk. And it is an old industrial area, as it was before here like a shipyard, a place when they were building ships. So they were thinking about what to do with the space, and there are a lot of ideas, and one of them was to actually bring some nature here and some sense of community. But also it's kind of our dream to have this place. Like we all grow up in a city, so we don't really know how to how to maintain the garden, but we would love to learn. So as a non-formal youth group, Zielone Ogniwo, we are doing a lot of ecological projects, mostly educating people and talking why being in nature is important, why we should bring more nature, biodiversity in the city. So there is this place where everybody can just come and they can have their own box, or there are some organizations or institutes that are having their place here. So it's very open, it's very new, but already existing for some years. And I think it's a very nice idea of how can we really use these post-industrial areas in Gdańsk. Where we as Zielone Ogniwo are hoping to have our garden, so it's there. A lot of young people actually would be interested in gardening, but the thing is that how the spaces are created a little bit. So we, for example, create a garden because we really want to have the sense of, actually creating something from the scratch, seeing it develop. And I think it's different when the young people are invited. So do they feel invited or not? I don't think that actually everybody has to attract every age groups. Do we want to just have this sense, okay, everybody is coming and we are a great place for everybody? Or do we really want to fulfill the needs of this specific group?
Why it's so important for me? Because well, I'm from the birth like the nature lover, but it's different when you go to the forest and just appreciate the nature, and different when you can build some relation with nature. And I feel like people have lost this connection. So social garden is a really good tool to rebuild that. I think it's very nice to have these opportunities where we really can meet each other and talk. A lot of these courses, like, they just happen in a lot of places, and sometimes it really seems like, okay, but how do I actually bring all the learnings to my garden or generally my organization? It can be like too much. But at the same time, I feel that without it, it would be so empty. And especially that we talk a lot about diversity and inclusion, and this kind of development helps a lot also to somehow manage my own ideas and see what works for me and what not. There are so much innovative ideas and so many different approaches that even though maybe I won't ever have the possibility to lead a training in a garden, something opened up in my brain that you can do it in such a different way. so I'm very grateful. I still believe that actually not every garden needs young people, but at the same time I saw here a lot of people really wanting to connect to the youngsters around them. Well, I think that it's very important, if you want to attract youngsters, to find some that can do it for you. It's gonna be much easier. This is something that I learned from, it works for my group, and I think we should definitely do it more. Like this youth run initiative that's gonna attract youth, so it's not organizations that work with youngsters, but actually youngsters that bring youngsters to the initiative so they can work together.
Hi, my name is Diana. I'm from Estonia. I'm a youth worker of Youth Center of Põhja-Tallinn. We are a very special youth center because we not only have the garden, but we use it to do youth work with youngsters. The idea of garden came from the government actually. They are having this program where every educational organization can apply for money and then build their own either community or educational garden. The first year of our garden was quite hard because youngsters didn't know what is gardening, how the gardening works, why do we need to do gardening, and the second year was a little bit easier, and the third year is when it all started because kids said we wanna just grow watermelons and melons. And first I was a bit skeptical because watermelons, melons in Estonia, not very good climate for that. But then we tried, and right now we have a lot of watermelon and melon plants planted in our greenhouse. I think that it is very important not to forget that youngsters are really cool and really capable of doing so many things. They have this new vision on every subject, and if we give them a little bit of more freedom, then they do really, really, really great, kind, and cool stuff.
Es nonācu kopienas darbā jau sākumā kopā ar probācijas dienestu. Man pirmo reizi viņi atvedu šitien, iepazīstināja ar šo dārzu. Pēc tam es aizgāju parunājos un izdomāju nākt brīvprātīgi šeit palīdzēt visus. Tā es arī katru reizi brīvprātīgi pieteicos un arī nāku. Šeit es esmu izdarījis, uztaisījis kasti priekš puķiem, salabojis pumpu, lai būtu ūdens, ko puķiem uzliet, un plus vēl šodien ar trimmerēšanu nodarbojās visas puķis aplaistam un tādas lietas. Ja, es varu raksturot, es varu šeit, ka šitis super dārs, ka šeit var kurš cilvēks nākt un kaut ko darīt, iestādīt šeit, kaut kādas puķītes vai kaut ko, un pēc tam kādu laiku nākt un apkopt visu šeit, ja ir laiks. Tāpēc arī šitas ir visforšākais, es nezināju, ka tāds te vispār dārs ir. Man iepazīstināja tā forši pašam labi jūšanās. Kaut ko iemācos dzīvē, vismaz, kas noderēs man super. Prieks klausīties šitās, kā cilvēki tur stāst kaut ko. Nu, ne tikai drusku nesaprotam, bet kaut ko tādas vārds jau zinu, bet, interesanti šeit ir tāds kolektīvs foršs.
I'm Kuba and I'm from Poland, from Gdynia, a city very, very close to sea on the north of Poland. And I am an activist and also a student of geology, and earlier I graduated philosophy. In general, I try to educate my local community different aspects about, for example, accessibility for blind people and in general people with disabilities. But also I organize, I'm one of coordinators youth exchanges, because my last youth exchange, which was in Poland, topic connection between ecology and human rights. If we want to make some space more accessible, we have to know very, very important is atmosphere. I mean, for example, openness. Here we can apply the solution that if a blind person wants to visit our garden, we will have a possibility to offer this person, for example, assistance.
My name is Justina, I come from Lithuania, and by heart and by education I call myself another kind of teacher. And at the same time I'm also a youth worker. I'm here because I got very interested into this training course about gardening, about urban gardening and youth work, and somehow the components, the elements of both in one. I really wanted to be in outside environment with open-minded people who are ready to share their ideas and to be inspired by each other. So that's why I decided to come, to learn, to be taken by surprise, and and expect unexpected. When we had the day about permaculture and youth work, I got very inspired that the 12 principles of permaculture I can actually implement in my own youth work, in my life. Because before that, I was somehow very much more on the side that permaculture is this touchy experience that you mainly connected to nature and gardening, and I was not very aware of the sustainable part of it. That's why the 12 principles of permaculture, they are so interconnected, and I was very inspired, and I really take it with me for today, tomorrow, and the future. While being here on the topic of nature, permaculture, and generally gardening, I was constantly brought up to the topic of education, that education is the key to everything, and and how important it is to come back to our roots and actually start from the very beginning, from childhood, and to really emphasize teaching and learning, whatever method it is, if it's unlearning or learning new things or taken from a lot of different perspectives. Is just the topic of education. It's constantly in the back of my mind, and I find it important to emphasize every single time when we do trainings or any kind of international experiences.
So are you the only one who is able to do this?
Yes.
Or you're just teaching them to
Yay!
do it? He's just doing it.
Okay.
How long
It's okay, he is the master.
No, it's not good.